Peace be upon you all. Very often, we see pictures or videos of massive whales or dolphins lying on sandy shores. Waves have tossed them ashore, or they've run into trouble and ended up stranded on the beach. At that point, people rush over to help, sprinkling water on them, pushing them, and trying to get them back into the sea. But the question that arises here is, aren't whales and dolphins mammals? They breathe air just like land animals. So why do they die when they leave the ocean? To answer this question, we first need to understand the breathing mechanism of whales and dolphins. Whales and dolphins are marine mammals, meaning they have lungs and breathe regular air. They don't extract oxygen from water like fish. They have a blowhole, a feature that's similar to our nose, allowing them to breathe directly. Large whales have 2 blowholes, except for sperm whales, while dolphins generally have just one. That's why whales and dolphins periodically come up to the surface for air before diving back down. While they're underwater, these blowholes remain closed due to specific muscles surrounding them from all sides. If water were to enter, they would choke and literally drown. This is what we see when whales and dolphins surface and appear to shoot water out of their heads. This water isn't coming from within their bodies, as some believe. It's merely water gathered over the blowhole, which then shoots up like a fountain due to the force of their exhalation. After releasing carbon dioxide from their bodies, they take a deep breath and dive back into the water. What allows whales and dolphins to live like this is their ability to hold their breath underwater for intervals ranging from 8 to 10 minutes, with some species lasting up to 15 full minutes. Whales, in general, can hold their breath for about 60 full minutes, an entire hour. Sperm whales, on the other hand, can last a full hour and a half underwater on a single breath. The undisputed champion, however, is the bowhead whale, or the curvy-beaked whale, which can remain underwater for a single breath for up to 138 minutes, slightly over 2 hours and a quarter. What allows these animals to achieve this feat is their body's abundance of hemoglobin, a protein in red blood cells that stores oxygen. Whales have double the amount of hemoglobin found in most other animals, along with another protein called myoglobin, which helps muscles store oxygen as well. Additionally, whales can control their heart rates, lowering them by half to reduce oxygenated blood flow to certain organs, like the skin, which helps them conserve oxygen and stay underwater longer. If atmospheric oxygen is so important for whales and dolphins and they can't live without it, then why do they die when they leave the water, as we often see on shorelines? The answer is that, contrary to what many may think, they can actually breathe just fine on land and face no issues with respiration. In fact, they find it even easier to breathe on land because the atmospheric pressure on land is about 1 bar. Underwater, pressure increases with every 10 meters of depth. The problem isn't with breathing at all. There are other factors besides respiration that prevent them from surviving on land, to the extent that they can die within just a few hours. One of the main factors is their massive weight. But what does weight have to do with it? The bodies of whales weigh thousands of kilograms. The blue whale, for example, can weigh up to 150,000 kilograms, which is 150 tons, a staggering figure by any measure. But despite this, such a massive weight doesn't cause them any problems while they're in the water, as water fully supports and cushions them from all sides without any effort. However, when a whale is out on land, its weight begins to have a detrimental effect. The enormous weight presses down on their internal organs, to the point of potentially crushing them, especially as a whale's skeleton is not designed to support its weight on land. God created them to live in the water, so their internal organs can actually get crushed, and blood pools in the lower part of their bodies, reducing circulation and preventing oxygenated blood from reaching vital organs, including the brain. If a stranded whale happens to end up positioned in a way that puts pressure on its lungs and heart, it can face extreme difficulty breathing. As for dolphins, it's a similar issue. Though not all dolphins are as massive as whales, when they end up on shore, their lungs get compressed between their spine and heart, making it very easy for them to suffocate. This is considered one of the main reasons that can cause whales and dolphins to die on shore due to their large size. The second problem they face when they come ashore is their body temperature. Whales and dolphins are warm-blooded. Their bodies generate heat like ours. The problem is that whales and dolphins usually live in cold water. So, God Almighty designed them with a layer of fat called blubber. In whales, this layer can be as thick as 30 centimeters, about 1.5 feet, to protect them from the cold water and reduce heat loss. You could say this layer of fat acts like a thick fur jacket. When a whale ends up on land with all that blubber, the air doesn't pull heat away or cool their body as effectively as water. Thus, their body starts heating up internally, almost like an oven, to the extent that the fluids inside them can evaporate. Researchers refer to this as heat stress in whales. Moreover, out of the water, their skin begins to dry out because it doesn't retain moisture outside of water. This is why, during rescue operations of whales stranded on beaches, people are often seen with buckets of water, pouring it over them to keep them wet at all times. Another reason whales and dolphins can't survive on land is their streamlined body structure, which is ideal for moving in water. On land, they struggle immensely to move any muscle, leading to extreme exhaustion. Also, if whales remain on shore for a long time and survive dehydration and breathing issues, they won't be able to escape the problem of hunger. To stay alive, whales need an immense amount of energy to sustain their bodily functions. For example, the blue whale, which primarily feeds on crustaceans, consumes around 40 million krill daily, a shrimp-like creature, which equates to between 2% and 10% of its body weight. So, if it remains on shore without food for too long, it will literally starve to death. All these factors combined make it impossible for whales and dolphins to survive on land, and they die within hours after leaving the sea, even though they breathe air like us. Lastly, the phenomenon of whale stranding is not new. It's been recorded for centuries. It's where certain whales and dolphins gather in a specific area and purposely come ashore to rest on the beach until they die, almost as if they're ending their own lives. Today, there are around 2,000 cases of whale strandings annually. The strange thing is that researchers still don't know the exact cause of this phenomenon. Some researchers suggest that the whales might be suffering from a specific illness or are elderly, and thus choose to end their lives. Another group suggests that it's due to natural events occurring underwater, such as earthquakes or volcanic eruptions, causing whales and dolphins to flee. Another opinion blames humans, suggesting that increased stranding cases are due to water pollution or the use of sonar devices. Research indicates that military sonar devices, used to detect submarines, can confuse whales, causing them to try to escape the sound and leading to stranding. In March 2017, whales were recovered after stranding on the shores of the Bahamas following U.S. Navy sonar testing in the area. Since then, all sonar-using institutions have started modifying and improving these devices so their frequencies don't harm whales and dolphins. That's it for now. Who made it this far? You're the best. Give us a like before you leave so we know how many of you reached the end. And don't forget, if you have a question that keeps you up at night, write it in the comments below, and we'll answer it in a future video. Salam.